Welcome to the tutorial for tracing exceptions in profiled applications with AQtime. All AQtime profilers launched against an analyzed application can trace exceptions within these applications. They monitor the application's execution, and if an error occurs, post information to it in the Event View panel. So you're always going to get exception codes and call stacks regardless of the profiling task you perform with AQtime. So if you only need to explore exceptions, then you're best off using the Exception Trace Profiler. Unlike other profilers, this works very quickly as it does not perform any operations that could slow down the profiled application's performance. The Exception Trace Profiler supports both Win32 and Win64 applications and can trace exceptions occurring in unmanaged and managed code. The profiled application does need to be compiled with debug information, otherwise the profiler won't be able to access the call stack information. So I'm going to use a sample application that will demonstrate how AQtime traces exceptions. Let's get started. I've already launched AQtime and created a new project. So now what I want to do is add my sample application to the project. And to do that, I'm just going to right click here, say Add Module, and choose my sample application. Once the application's been chosen, I'm going to come up here and make sure that the Exception Trace Profiler is selected from the list of available profilers. Now, before we start profiling, we need to make sure that this profiler is configured properly. So to do that, we're going to come up here to the Options menu and choose the Options entry. And I'm going to expand the Profiling Time Event View General node here. And I want to make sure that this Exceptions Active box is checked. Because if that option is not checked, then no exception information is going to get posted during the profiling run. So we know that option is selected. That's good. We'll click OK. And now we know that our profiler is properly configured. So now we're ready to start profiling our application. So I'm going to click the Run button right here. AQtime invokes my sample application, and this application is just going to throw a bunch of error messages as we click buttons here. So I'm going to go ahead and try to divide by 0. We will call an array element that's out of bounds. We'll try a file can't be open error message, and then we'll have a custom error right here as well. Then I'm going to click OK. And you've noticed that as I'm clicking on each one of these errors, information is being written down here inside of the event panel. So I'm going to close my application to stop the profiling run, and let's take a look at the results. Now, the Exception Trace Profiler doesn't generate results in the summary or report panels like the other AQtime profilers do. Instead, all of the results you get are down here in this Event View panel. Now, this icon that you see right here indicates an exception in managed code. So for each such exception, the CLR generates a system exception that is traced and logged by AQtime. And these exceptions are also logged here with this giant red X icon. Now, the great thing about this is you can also view the source code of the call stack routine. So to do that, just expand the exception that you're interested in, select the function that caused the error, and then flip over here to the editor panel. And that will show you the actual code that was called that caused that particular error message. If you don't see your source code right away, you may need to come up here to your project search directory section and add in the path to your application right here. Just type in that path right there. And that will allow you to see the source code that caused a particular failure. AQtime also provides a number of options that affect the exceptions logging. For example, you can make AQtime generate dump files for the profiled application when an exception occurs. And then the generated dump files contain information about the profiled application's memory, call stack, loaded modules, CPU registers, etc. You can then open and analyze these dump files with Windows debugging tools or with anything else that's able to read dump files. So to generate dumps, come back up here to the Options dialog, and then in the Event View section here, enable this Generate Dump on Exception checkbox. And then this Dump Folder field is where you can specify where the dumplers should be stored after they've been created. Once the profiling is over, you can open that folder and examine the dump files to figure out what happened to cause the exception. It's also possible to store the information being posted to the Event View panel out to an external file. To do that, just click on this Display Events In node, and this allows you to pipe the results out to a text file, to an XML file, or you can even send it out to the Windows event log. You can also filter out the traced exceptions. This exceptions filter page allows you to specify which exceptions should be excluded from the event log. For example, if you don't want to ever follow integer divide by zero messages, you can just check this box, and now that exception will be ignored on subsequent profiler runs. This concludes our video on tracing exceptions with AQtime. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us at the address on your screen. Wish you luck, and hope you enjoy profiling your applications with AQtime.